nous nous engageons à vous offrir le meilleur. Pour vous, nous ne cesserons jamais d'innover pour toujours mieux vous servir.
You chose G24 to inform you, and guess what? You made the right choice. Good evening, dear televiewers, and welcome to this news store of 13 minutes. For now, let's have a quick look at the headlines. The Gabonese government has prohibited all flights from South Africa or neighboring countries to enter the territory after the discovery recently of a new COVID-19 variant named Omicron. Also, after 20 years of particularly dynamic China-Africa economic cooperation that has brought hope to the continent, the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, in short for CAC, which opened this Sunday, November 28 in Dakar, should mark a step back from previous editions. Stay tuned, I'll be back in a few seconds. Once more, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll open this newscast in brief and images as the Gabonese government has inked an agreement with the Special Economic Zone to build the Ikolo Industrial Zone near Lambaréné. The G16 Ikolo is a follow-up to the popular G16 Nkok. By the end of 2023, this zone aims to create 1,500 to 2,000 jobs for Gabonese citizens, as well as expose 300 containers of processed wood every month, providing extra value for the country. In our next news editions, we'll go through this information deeper. This time in economy, to better guide economic operators towards investment opportunities in Gabon, the National Investment of Promotion Agency, ANPI Gabon, launched its new website on November 26th. Intuitive and responsive, it is presented as a decision support tool and should allow ANPI Gabon to position itself as a source of reliable information. Let's watch for more details. On November 26th, the National Investment Promotion Agency ANPI Gabon launched its new website www.investingabon.ga. If this platform responds to the agency's action plan submitted to the Board of Directors on April 6th, it aims above all to give more visibility to investment actions in Gabon both domestically and internationally. With this new site, explained the Marketing and Communication Director of this agency, the idea is to position the agency as a reliable source of information to guide economic operators, answer users' questions on formalization, promote support services for entrepreneurs, but also be a reference in the provision of legal text within the framework of the promotion of Gabon. ANPI Gabon promises with this new site ease of access to information. One of the site's most tangible advantages, assures the marketing director, is direct access to digital investment window, the GNI. Also, the news of the agency posted on all its social networks will be available in real time, and several downloadable documents, including project sheets developed with different ministries, will also be available. Remember, the vocation of ANPI Gabon is to assess investment opportunities in Gabon sector by sector to help investors better understand the different markets in which they could position themselves. In brief and images, one more time, the Gabonese government informs the national and international community that due to the recent discovery in South Africa of a new variant of new COVID-19 vaccines, or called Omicron Passengers and flights coming from South Africa are, as of this Monday, November 29, prohibited from entering the Gabonese territory, and this until further notice. This ban also applies to airlines carrying passengers from the neighboring countries of South Africa and Angola, whose final destination is Gabon. This measure, which takes effect immediately, aims to maintain the downward trend in the evolution of the pandemic observed recently in Gabon and to protect the population. Still in brief and images, but this time in Senegal, speaking on Sunday, following a meeting with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, Senegalese Foreign Minister Aissata Tall Sall says she hopes China will lend support in the fight against insecurity in the Sahel region at the opening of the China-Africa Summit in Dakar. The summit follows a visit this month from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to African nations, Kenya, Nigeria, and Senegal, against a backdrop of growing rivalry between Beijing and Washington. Furthermore, on a different note, after 20 years of particularly dynamic China-Africa economic cooperation that has brought hope to the continent, the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation (FOCAC), which opened this Sunday, November 28 in Dakar, should mark a step back from previous editions. The details are given by Jean-Cyril Ondomungu.
The trade cooperation between China and Africa has achieved leapfrog development in recent years thanks to a series of pragmatic measures introduced under the framework of the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation, according to Chinese Vice Commerce Minister Qian Keming. Since 2000, China has cumulatively imported $1.2 trillion worth of goods from Africa and exported $1.27 trillion worth of goods to Africa. But given the debt burden of some states, Chinese lenders are in any case more selective in their approach to projects. The size and amount of investment in the new Silk Roads will be adjusted as diplomats say, according to the risks and viability of the various proposals put forward. The status of this so-called ministerial conference and not a summit of head of state, as in previous editions, symbolizes in a way a possible inflection in these relations. Among the priorities that will be highlighted during this meeting, cooperation in the field of health services and the fight against COVID-19. Another point always raised by Beijing is the new Silk Roads. China's cooperation with the continent is very dynamic, as 19% of Africa's trade is with China.
Let's talk health now, as with the emergence of the Omicron variant considered worrying, the WHO, which is coordinating with a large number of researchers around the world to better understand this COVID-19 variant, recommends improved health surveillance and case sequencing. The details are given with Vanessa Chogo.
As a growing number of countries impose flight bans on southern African countries over concerns about the new Omicron variant, the World Health Organization on Sunday called on countries to act in accordance with science and the international health regulations by keeping borders open. Indeed, the announcement of the outbreak of this variant in South Africa caused panic, and many European countries decided to suspend the arrival of travelers from southern Africa, notably South Africa, Lesotho, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Namibia, and Eswatini. The International Organization therefore recommends that countries undertake several actions, including improved surveillance and sequencing of cases, with Omicron being designated as a variant of concern. WHO calls for sharing genomic sequences on publicly available databases, such as GSAID, reporting initial cases or clusters to WHO. It recommends also field investigation and laboratory evaluation to better understand whether Omicron has different transmission or disease characteristics or impact the effectiveness of vaccines, treatment, diagnostics, or public health and social measures. Moreover, according to WHO, the Omicron coronavirus variant is likely to spread internationally, posing a very high global risk of infection surges that could have severe consequences in some areas, even though no deaths related to the variant have yet been discovered, and we still have little information about it.
The following information marks the end of this newscast. In culture, and this time a note of necrology. Fashion designer Virgil Abloh, the artistic director of Louis Vuitton's menswear collection, died Sunday after privately battling cancer for several years. This African genius, precisely from Ghana, was aged 41 and was the father of 2 kids. Take a look at the account of his life. LVMH Chief Executive Bernard Arnault announced the sad news in these terms, we quote, "We are all shocked by this terrible news. Virgil was not only a genius designer, a visionary, but also a man with a beautiful soul and great wisdom." He equally sent his condolences together with the LVMH family to the family of the deceased in a post on LVMH Twitter's account. The group said Abloh, 41, had been battling privately cancer for several years. Virgil Abloh, whose parents had migrated to the United States from Ghana, was famed for bringing sweatwear to the glitz of the catwalk and was the first Black American creative director of a top French fashion house when he was chosen to be artistic director of Louis Vuitton's menswear collection in 2018. LVMH also announced earlier this year it was taking a majority stake in the luxury streetwear label Off-White created by Abloh, where they took 60% stake and Abloh retained 40%. Virgil Abloh has addressed both environmental and social issues in his work with Louis Vuitton, with anti-racist and anti-homophobia messages at his January show in Paris. He said earlier this year he planned to use his partnership with LVMH to expand opportunities for diverse individuals and foster great equity and inclusion in the fashion industries. We have come to the end of this newscast, but first let's have a last review at the main headlines. The Gabonese government has prohibited all flights from South Africa or neighboring countries to enter the territory after the recent discovery of the new COVID-19 variant called Omicron. Also, after 20 years of particularly dynamic China-Africa economic cooperation that has brought hope to the continent, the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation for CAC, which opened this Sunday, November 28 in Dakar, should mark a step back from previous editions. Thanks for staying faithful to our newscast. Information continues on G24 and our social medias. Subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more programs. Next rendezvous of information in English is at 10:30 p.m. local time. At 8:30, by the way, Guillaume Mapesi, the legends, inform you in French. Till we meet again, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Je suis consciente que ces derniers temps, il y a des difficultés dans le sport collectif. Pas de sport en groupe, pas de sport national, pas de sport international. Difficultés dans les perspectives à venir. Pour retrouver les sports que nous aimons tant, je vous encourage tous à vous faire vacciner contre la Covid-19.
Anye kindo mano butande anye mukube be okoni me bane anye kindo mano butande buta benya weto mbete miganye anye unumenye be chengane duwe